Alright. So, for my most important memory, I decided I would talk about the day that my son was born. Um, the day had finally come, and we were standing in the labor and delivery ward. I thought I'd planning this for 9 months. I was so excited, and I had everything planned out, and I was so prepared. So I thought. The day my son was born was both the most scariest and most exciting day ever. Being able to carry him for 9 months and deliver him was one of the most rewarding things ever. I'm so thankful for being able to have given birth to my son the way it did, and it turned me into a better person all around. Today I'm going to tell you the story of how I gave birth and how it turned me into a better person. But brace yourself, it wasn't all fun and giggles. Try to imagine 8 a.m. on August 4th, 2018. I was packing my bags in my room, double checking my list over and over again, making sure that I had everything that I needed. First, I'm going to explain what happened at my home and then what happened during my birthing process. So brace yourself. While I was getting ready to leave, my father asked for my bags, and I had told him they were by the door, in which he helped load them in the car and said, "I thought you were just going for a few days. It looks like you're moving out." So you can never be too prepared for labor or delivery, especially because this is my first kid. I have no idea what I'm doing. In which he said, "Okay, well, we'll see what's gonna happen." So we go to the labor and delivery ward. Everybody's being wheelchaired into the hospital, and since I went in with an induction date, they told me I had to walk 3 floors to the labor and delivery ward. So I grabbed all my bags, we started walking, and as we were checking in, all I could hear around me was women screaming, women walking around, holding onto the walls. Basically, everybody just looked like they were in terrifying and like the most utter pain they ever had in their entire life. And at that moment, I looked at my boyfriend and I told him, "What did we do? I'm not prepared for this. I don't know why I thought we were." In which he said everything was going to be okay. Once the staff helped me to my room, basically I was only 0.5 centimeters dilated. And for those of you that aren't familiar with pregnancy and labor and delivery, that's only the size of a coffee bean. And in order to push your kids out, you're supposed to be a little bit bigger than the size of a jar of mayonnaise in diameter, which is 10 centimeters. So first, like I said, I was only the size of a coffee bean, so they had to give me a balloon in which it was supposed to help dilate the cervix. That didn't really help. It only dilated to 4 centimeters, which is like the size of an earring. So we waited 4 more hours, then they gave me a shot of Pitocin, which is supposed to speed up the laboring process. I went from a 4 to a 9 in a matter of 3 hours, which was I was in excruciating pain at that point. My body was hurting all around. My back was hurting. It felt like it was broken. Just everything was hurting. I could feel everything in my body just felt like it was breaking. I would not to mention, during this whole entire time, I had what you call PUPS rash. And PUPS rash is basically when you're allergic to your child's hormones. And it's just this unbearable itch that no matter how bad you itch, it just doesn't go away. So that's fun. So after that, maybe about 20 minutes after I dilated to a 9, I felt like it was time to push. My boyfriend, I told him, "Go call a nurse now, he's coming." And so the nurse came in and said, "No, you're not at a full 10 yet, you have to wait." And I said, "There's no waiting, he's coming now." And she said, "You must wait." In which, okay, well, I waited, and I started pushing, and about 45 minutes later of pushing, I heard my son's first cry. So that was the story of what happened before and during my labor. Now, we did end up naming him Apollo Angel Rodriguez, and he was 9 pounds and 3 ounces. And for those of you, like I said, who aren't familiar with pregnancy and labor, that is a huge baby, and he was very heavy. And so it only took me 45 minutes to push him out. And so now I'm going to tell you about the responsibility and how he changed my life. So I always said I wanted more responsibility, and being an adult, I wanted to take on more things when my son came, and I ended up taking a lot more than I had bargained for. Um, in everything I do, I always think about his future and how it's going to affect him. So I decided to go back to school full time in order to get a better job later. I decided to work full time while I was going to school, and on the side from that, just normal things like doing chores and bathing him and feeding him, and things like that. It goes hand in hand with the responsibility of having a kid. Um, but after that, you do have like a lack of sleep that comes with this. It's like just being sleep deprived all the time. You hardly get any sleep, but I've learned to cope with my son when he wakes up in the middle of the night, for feedings, changings, nightmares, anything possible. I always wake up and it's not as hard as it was in the beginning. I've learned now to just go like a few hours of sleep throughout the day, which for some people is incredibly hard to do, because not sleeping can actually drive you crazy. So, but yeah, it did teach me a lot of responsibility on how to care for someone other than myself and to put another person's needs before my own. So after all this, I wouldn't trade being a mom for anything in the world. And it was the most terrifying and, like I said, most memorable moment of my life that I could have possibly ever done or ever imagined doing. It was such a rewarding thing, and it still is, coming home to